Hey guys, coming to you from the AM. Thank you for joining me for this episode. This one is going to be basically all about the front suspension. I'm going to do a short stroke conversion on the factory shocks. So it entails some cutting, some welding. Basically, you got to shorten the factory housing, strut housing, about 40 millimeters. And you got to get the appropriate shocks to fit that as well. Anyways, it's a pretty in-depth process. It's not too bad, but I've been looking online. I've been trying to research a lot of this, and it's been hard to find like real consistent information. You do your research and you find some people saying some things and then other people saying other things, and it's been just kind of like, as many times as this has been done, I just don't see what all the confusion is about. And so I wanted to just like make a video of the actual process. This video I wanted to kind of do both. I wanted to do the fabrication side and the assembly, the parts that you'll need and everything like that, and why we're doing what we're doing, basically. And also the parts. There's a lot of mix-ups with what shocks to use, what shocks to not use. What can you use? I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but I'm just gonna. I didn't really mention that in the videos, but I will. But if you read I'll put some subtitles up, at the appropriate times, as far as what parts to use. Also, in the video description, check that out. I'm gonna have all the part numbers out on there, what works and what doesn't work. As far as like the I don't know about the TRD, the Tokikos. I'm sure all those are fine, but the AGX, there are some differences between like the front and the rear suspension on the SW20 chassis MR2. Those are the ones that you can use for the AE86, and I ordered the wrong ones, and so I kind of paid the price, and I learned the lesson the hard way. And there was, because in the one post I did find on the internet that they said that you could use these shocks as well. Well, it turns out that's not true at all. You cannot use these shocks. So make sure you pay attention to which ones I'm going to tell you that you cannot use, absolutely cannot use, if you're going to shorten your shock bodies, because it'll be too tall. It'll actually be sticking out of the shock body, so you don't want to go that route. Basically, we're going to be, after the shortening of the struts, we're going to assemble everything, and I guess that's about it, really. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, guys and gals. So I hope that this video is entertaining for you, and I guess that's about it. And without further delay, here it is. Enjoy. I guess it just had to hit the floor. There it is, nasty net. There we go. This is just a little cover of some sort. I guess it's for the cotter pin there. Okay, this This right here should be a little bit more than hand tight, but not too tight. Set that there. Nice and easy like that. Came flying out at me. Let's take this brake dust cover off. Alright, now I got to get these two bolts up under here. I've already sprayed them with some fluid, but they're pretty big bolts here. There we go. Hit me right in the nuts. Wow. Look at that. That is weird looking. All right, here's our assembly here. I'm going to use these spring compressors to take the spring off. Alright, I got both shocks out. And look at this, is why the car felt like it was I was riding a boat. Let's see if I can. Here it is, it just goes. There's nothing left there. Same with this one. This one doesn't even have the top hat on. Just got the rubber bushing. Look at that. Gravity. Wow. So this suspension upgrade will be will make the ride feel a lot better. Okay, now that we got the assembly out of the car, both of them, we got to take off these Gland Nuts, which are at the top, and they're large size, so I have to use a pipe wrench. I'll show you that in a minute. Then what we're going to do is cut these spring perches off. Alright guys, my first Gland nut came off pretty easily, but this one's giving me a hard time. It's on there pretty good. So I figured out a little tip that maybe might come in handy to other people. You get it like this, find a good solid point, and if you were to just try to turn this, you would have a hard time holding this, and even if you were to step on it like this, it's still hard to keep it from moving while that's really tight. But if you were to get a screwdriver, stick it in there, the little bracket there for the brake line, right there, hold it like this, and that way you can get leverage. Also, you want to keep it steady with your foot, and then that way you can turn this. There we go. A lot easier. So hopefully that'll help somebody out, because I'm not gonna lie, it took me a minute to think about that. Let's open this up and see what we got. All right, now that we got this the shock taken out, this is basically just a shell and with nothing in it. You can't see anyways, but I did it anyways. So on our Gland nut on the inside, there's like a seal. We won't need that because you know, it's our shock is just a insert. So it's not going to have to seal or hold any oil in this part. What I'm going to do in order to remove that, it's kind of hard. It's hard to just you can't just pry that out. So I'm going to put this in part way like this, and try to get a screwdriver and give it a few whacks from above here. I think that did it right there. And there it is, it's out. All right, here's the instructions that were supplied by T3. Weld on coilover kit with camber plates, assembly order, and they also have it with factory upper mounts assembly order. But I'm going to be using camber plates, so I'll stick with this side. It just shows kind of the order of how things are installed, and also for 6-inch sleeves, weld perch 6 1/8 inch from top of the strut casing. Okay, that we do have 6-inch sleeves. We don't have the 7-inch sleeves. So, and down here, AE86 casings with short stroke shocks, generally shortened 40 millimeters. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to shorten it in the I'm going to cut this section out where the spring perch was, and you're probably asking why cut the spring perch off if I'm just going to cut this section out. Why not just cut the section out and the spring perch would be there? I could do that, but you could have done that, but it's hard to measure. First of all, with that big spring perch in the way, it's hard to get a precise 40 millimeters. So it was easier for me just to cut the 40 millimeters, or cut the spring perch out before I cut the 40 millimeters out. So I'm going to take my little micrometer here. Let's get it up to 40 millimeters. Just close enough. There we go. And that's the best way to do this. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can make a scratch in this thing to right there. All right. About like right there. Be good. And now to get a square cut, because I don't have a chop saw, I'm going to have to rely on this tape, and I'm going to use a larger diameter tape to get more accuracy. The tape is straight, right? So if you just start right here, yeah, go straight around. Don't cheat by bending it. Get a pretty good square line right there. See,
See there? You got nice squared. All right, and here it is. I'm gonna cut this section out. I'm gonna go ahead and just double check my measurements. Right here. Good right there. Good. That's good. And good. Alright, here's the result after the cutting. Also, I cleaned it. Basically what I did was just got some brake cleaner and sprayed it on there and used a wire brush, and the paint just came right off. Not too hard at all, and I just cleaned up this area down here. Here's the other piece. So it's ready to weld. There's no paint, so it's ready to go. So basically we're going to weld this back on like that. In order to keep it square, I'm going to use a piece of angle iron right here, and I'm going to weld it to this square 3-inch square tubing here. Alright, and these are the times that it reminds me that I need to get a shop, or that I would like to have a shop. Because I am just working with limited space here, but I have this set up in this little nook here. I got the angle iron welded to the 3x3 rectangle block there, and I have it just sitting in here. And I'm kind of limited to how I can set this on here because of the bracket here and all this back here. Sorry, my camera zoomed in a little bit, but you can see how the angle iron will hold this, keep it square while I make a few tack welds. One. I got it tack welded up here now, and I'm just gonna basically weld until all the cracks are gone. It looks pretty square to me. Alright, here they are, all welded up, and I got them, and of course I grinded the welds down. I wouldn't have done, I mean, you know, it's good to clean them up, but and the only reason you have to do it is because the sleeve won't fit over the top with that with the bead going around it, so you do have to grind it down. There's that right there. Looks pretty good. You know, it's not like the prettiest thing in the world, but I'm gonna paint it, and you probably won't be able to tell that much after it's painted. But you know, it turned out okay. I'm happy with it. Inside, let me turn the flashlight. Inside, you can see all the way down. There's no little sticks sticking out there where the wire didn't make contact. So it looks good. Nice and solid. Right there. Now I'm going to, let's look at our instructions. Okay, it says, for 6-inch sleeves, weld perch 6 1/8 inch from top of strut casing. 6 1/8 inch. So what that means is, since the sleeve is 6 inches, then they want us to weld the weld perch 6 1/8 inches down. We should have 1/8 of an inch of exposed at the top here. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, here's the weld perch right here. Now, if you look, you can see it's kind of loose, right? So I'm worried that if I try to eye this, I could this is an exaggeration here like this, but I want to get it as level as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tape again, and I'm going to tape around. I'm going to measure first, you know, and then I'll make my line with my tape, and that way I'll use my tape as a guide to you know, make sure that it's square whenever I weld it. Alright, so let me show you what I'm doing here. I've got my tape marked, and I've measured the 6 1/8 inches is right at the bottom of the tape. So I'll go ahead and mark that just in case. I've been known to mess up, and I might accidentally weld it on the top ring here. But see if you take, I'm measuring down here, 6 1/8 inches is that right at the bottom of the tape. Okay. Now all right, and so what that is going to do is when it says to weld the spring perch 6 1/8 inches down, I'm thinking that because this is a thickness right here, they want the spring perch, they want the top of this at 6 1/8 inch. Okay, so what I've decided is I'm going to weld the perch. This line right here is exactly 6 1/8 inch. So I'm going to weld the perch like this, so that way when I put the sleeve on, I'm going to have about 1/8 of an inch at the top here. All right, here it is with the with the perches on. Not the prettiest, but the welds will hold. Oh, still pretty hot from welding it. Yeah. You know, turned out okay. It's MIG welding, so it's not gonna be as pretty as the TIG welding. But I don't have a TIG welder, so I just gotta use what I have. So now I'm gonna go ahead and paint these, and that way it'll make them look really cool. All right, here's what they look like. I just put some paint on there. I painted like a metallic dark gray. I think they turned out really good, looking nice. Got the these rings on there, and now it's finally time for assembly. So here we go. But these are the Gland Nuts that T3 offers, and what they do, they fit many different shocks. With this, it has a bevel right here, you can see, and what it does is it centers the top of the shock. So no matter, you know, depending on what kind of shock you have, it centers that, because you know, however high up or down it sits, it makes contact with the shock, the top of the shock, it'll be centered. So it's a pretty cool, it's a nice Gland nut. They are a little pricey. Okay, so when this shock is sitting down in here, you want it to be centered on the bottom and the top. And to do that on the bottom, it's been recommended to wrap some duct tape around right here, and you know, until it can still slide inside, but it kind of keeps it from moving around too much at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with the tape, and for the top, you know, the Gland nut is going to center that, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, I just put I actually wrapped a bunch around it because I thought it would take a lot more, but really it only took like about one wrap, and it fits pretty snug. So go ahead and drop it in.
This is Earth Radio. Now here's human music.
That. All right, so now you're gonna look and you see how it sits down inside a little bit, and if you put the Gland nut on, let me show you. Yeah. Screw this on. It actually sits so far down that it won't you run out of threads before it will make contact with the shock. See, there's still play in there. So what you do is you get these washers and you put them at the bottom of the shock. You can make your own spacers, but I just went to Lowe's. Here's the ones you want to use. These fit perfectly inside here. They're 1 3/4 inches, and you can see they're a couple millimeters thick, a few millimeters thick maybe. But yeah, 1 3/4 inches. They're kind of hard to find, but they do have them. I got these at Lowe's. They're pretty cheap, you know, 30 cents a piece or whatever. And it actually, this one only requires one. It will sit, you know, right just like that. And so we'll just drop that in. Throw this in there now. Again. All right, so it brings it up a little bit higher. You don't want to have it too high because then you won't be able to get your Gland nut on. Make sure this is right first before you put the perches on and stuff. All right. Now you can see the shock is centered. This is pretty good. You actually want a couple of threads exposed. That's about hand tight right there. And there's no vibration, no play in that. So that's great right there, perfect fit. And so let's get ready to go to the next step here. All right, and here I'm just installing these little rubber washers on here, and what these will do is keep the spring perch, or whatever you want to call it, the sleeve, I guess, from spinning around. When like if you're trying to adjust it, because it's not welded in place or anything, it's just kept on like this, and they say that's all you need to do. So go ahead and try that. Now go ahead and slip this on. See, that takes up the space there. Push it all the way down until it seats. Okay, well, that's pretty tough to get on there. Now we have our shocky end in there. We got our spacer on the bottom. Time to install the Gland nut for the final time. Okay. All right, there it is. Perfect. That's about as tight as it's going to go. Now we'll install the spring. This and top hat. Voila. Beautiful. Okay, and now to install the upper hats. Get this spacer that's included. Drops on. Make sure you get the right one. This has an L right here for left side, driver's side, and this is the driver's side spindle. So make sure you get that right, because they are directional. And that slides on, and this has a sleeve. It's going to thread on the top of the shock, and the sleeve is going to go in between the, let me tilt it up so you can see right here. See, it's going to go in between that pillow ball and slide and go all the way down like that. And yeah, so I guess that's it. Check it out. Looks good. Alright guys, there it is with the camber plate on. I think it looks good. All the parts are pretty much new, except for the shell and the this part down here, spindle. But I just got the tape on there. It doesn't look very good, but it'll look better when it's off. So anyways, yeah, I just wanted to make this video because I haven't seen a whole lot of information on it, and yeah, so here it is, man. Now I'm not finished yet. Obviously, I got to install these. But that's going to be it for this video. And if you want to see me install these and the rest of my build, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you can make sure that you can catch all the upcoming episodes. All right. Thank you.